Welcome back to the Champions Corner. I am your host, Adriel Orona, and today's guest is from Neville, Ohio, who turned a troubled upbringing into a professional MMA career. Known for his power and grit, his journey began in Strikeforce to then competing in the UFC. He is now giving back, running his own MMA gym and mentoring the next generation. This is Roger Bowling.
Was it the money that made me a savage? Popping them perks and I made it a habit. Towing them pictures and serving them addicts. That was exciting to me. I'm so excited to be. Started with nothing, we had to inspire the beat. They fly to me. I'm getting to it. Feel like the man.
But I was watching one of the clips, and he was like, he's just throwing hands. I don't honestly though. He was throwing a bunch of hands, and I'm surprised that the dude who was fighting didn't get dropped. Because like he was just throwing.
Yeah, I couldn't pull him out of the rage that he was in. I don't know. It was like he was possessed. He does not train that way.
Mm-hmm.
He's a really skilled, like technical stand-up fighter.
Right.
He actually came from my old boxing coach, Rob Radford.
Okay.
And he's been working with Rob for 5-6 years, and then me too. So we brought him up the right way. He I don't know, it was just one of them nights. He said he thought he had him rocked, and then tried to push for the finish.
Right.
Never happened, and he got tired. So that's what happens. That's the name of the game, man.
Right.
Like,
And in a situation like that, though, like if a fighter loses their mind and they lose their cool, how does that affect them, and what can kind of go from that?
you just start fighting on emotion, man, and you can't, like, you put too much into it, and then, next thing you know, you're gassed out, or, like if I'm throwing a big punch at you,
right,
and you catch me with a little one down the middle, it's all my momentum, and then that little that you spent, so you more or less hurt yourself, which was like Hunter did in that fight.
Right. Damn.
But you live and you learn, man. One zigzag the wrong way, it's over in this sport.
Absolutely. Take us back, man. What was it like growing up in Neville?
Neville. Man, I was just a little river town east of the city, and yeah, man, I didn't even know life existed on the other side of 275.
Yeah.
We were pretty poor, like, there was no phones and stuff. Like, we didn't have a phone, and like, yeah, you just confined to this little space with all your friends and stuff. You just go to school. School bus picks you up, brings you, drops you off, and you're just there.
Yeah.
Like, we never really went on vacations or got out much, like went out to eat or anything like that.
Right.
So it was just, playing a lot of sports, backyard sports, basketball, football. I had a set of old Rocky Balboa boxing gloves, but I only had one set.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, so my friends would all come over and we would box, and they always made me have the left hand, and I'm right-handed, and they were right-handed too, so I attribute my left, because it knocks everybody out, to the left hand back in the day, because that's all they would let me throw with.
Right.
So it's kind of cool, yeah.
So then how did you get introduced to this MMA boxing realm?
So I loved boxing growing up, like obviously watching Mike Tyson and those guys. Like, boxing was like it for me, and I'd seen the UFC, but it really wasn't like mainstream or big then.
Right.
And I can remember just like walking through the neighborhood or like down to my grandma's house, and I would just picture like walkout songs and stuff in my head, and I would get cold chills and shit just because I loved boxing. So anyway, fast forward, I'm like 16, 17, and a club down off of Kellogg called Annie's had fight night. And I just started going down there with no experience and just signing up for fight night. And they would just match you up with somebody like your weight class. Yeah. And you'd go fight outside. And if you win, you get the VHS tape. Back then it was VHS. You probably don't even know what that is.
Like you get the video of the fight?
The video of the fight, yeah.
Really?
Yeah. So, yeah, I think I was like 7-0 down there. But I was fighting guys from like local boxing gyms. Like, they'd bring their fighters down there to fight. And I was just
some dude who picked
river
it up.
rat, little hillbilly kid, like, just loved fighting, like, just natural, and I was hurting people. Yeah. And then I did the Meanest Man in Cincinnati, which used to be at Stricker's Grove, and that's where I met my boxing coach. And got with him, and then started taking jiu-jitsu, and heard about a fight team that was in Amelia, a guy named Ron Gableman. He had a team G-Force, which is still kind of like on and off now, and got with him and had a fight like 2 months later.
Damn.
Had my first amateur MMA fight and fell in love with it.
Hell yeah.
And it was like the whole line, like, I'm just going to do a couple fights, you know what I mean? And then, you know, just to keep me in shape and, like, keep me active. And next thing you know, like, I was just fucking, like, murdering people.
Right.
Yeah, and I'm like, man, like, I could do something. And then fast forward 2007, I had my pro debut at the Cincinnati Gardens. I fought a kid from Iowa, Davenport, Iowa. I remember, like, I'm like, shit, like, there's a lot of fighters from, like, good fighters from Iowa, like Gents Pulver and, like, Matt Hughes was from there. And I'm like, remember looking him up, and he was a college wrestler. And I'm like, God, can't go to the ground with this guy. And he was a little thick kid. And I ended up knocking him out in the first round. And then everybody else, like my first 8 fights were all first round knockouts.
Right. So what type of training did you do growing up, though, to kind of get you to where you are?
Like I said, I was poor. Like, I didn't even get to play any sports because we didn't really have a lot of transportation back and forth.
Right.
So, and my school didn't have wrestling or anything. So,
wow.
I was 2-0 as a pro. I turned pro kind of early. And I met my buddy Dustin Winterhold, who owns Triple Crown Athletic and Jiu-Jitsu now over in Florence, Kentucky.
Yeah.
And he was a college wrestler. He wrestled at Syracuse.
Oh, shit.
And he punished me. Like, he came in and, like, we connected. He's a cool dude. Just,
Right.
like, awesome. And I remember, like, cauliflower ears. I'm like, man, this dude's going to be tough. And he owned me on the ground.
Yeah.
And it forced me to take, like, I took a year and a half or 2 years off and just wrestled with him every day.
Yeah.
And upped my game. And, so after that, like, my love for boxing and, like, always, like, stand-up stuff.
Yeah.
And then with the wrestling, like, it all
tied everything together.
To the next level.
That's what's up. So then how did you get the nickname Relentless? Let's talk about that.
That was a local promoter, Jason Appleton. You kind of, like, he just said that my fighting style was, like, relentless. Like, when I came out, like, I just super aggressive style.
Yeah.
So.
What kind of mindset did you have kind of prepping into a fight? Like, were you trying to kill this dude? Like, what kind of things went into preparing for a fight?
It's so hard to explain, man. There's so many emotions that go into fights. Like, I feel like you prepare for guys different. But as far as, like, emotions before the fight, like, in the back, it's like a whirlwind. Like, you're like, did I do enough? Did I do? But then you have your, like, coaches back there, like, you're ready, like, keeping you grounded. And, you know, and it's different for every fight. Like, some fights, you know, the guy might not be to your level, and you might know that, so then you're a little more confident. But then, you know, next thing you know, you're fighting in the UFC, and then you're like, fuck, did I do enough? Like, which was hard for me when I got into Strikeforce. Like I said, my first 7 fights were all first round knockouts.
Right.
So fast forward, you get into Strikeforce, and guys can take, like, they're not scared of you anymore.
Yeah.
So they don't give a shit about your knockouts.
Yeah.
Like, they're coming to bang.
Right.
So I kind of had to learn how to fight all over again.
Yeah.
Because, you know, you're going into the second and the third round again, and these guys aren't going away.
Right.
So it's like you had to take a step back and kind of check myself.
Hell yeah. And then let's talk about that moment, though. 2007, your professional debut.
Mm-hmm.
What was that experience like? What kind of emotions were going on for you?
Yeah, it was like the Cincinnati Gardens. I remember prior to the fight, weighing in the day before, my guy didn't show up. So I was, like, stressed if he was going to show up.
Like, the dude who you were going to fight didn't show up?
No, he didn't show up. So
do you feel like that was like a tactic? What do you think he was doing?
I mean, he was coming from Iowa, so it's not uncommon.
Okay.
You know? And so he weighed in the next day, and I remember watching him weigh in, and the fight was at 170. It was the first time I ever fought at 170.
Yeah.
So all my amateur fights were at 185. And I watched him weigh in, and he weighed in at 170, and then I was like, I felt like I had an edge because I weighed in the night before.
Yeah.
And he's on weight now. So by that point, I put on, 10, 15 pounds.
Damn.
So I'm like, at least I'm heavier than him. Oh, bro,
dude.
You don't even know. We'll get into that.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, you don't even know about the weight cut.
All right.
But yeah, I felt like I had an edge on him. But he was wearing like a Iowa wrestling shirt, and I was like, damn, this good. Like, wrestlers are the toughest dudes to fight.
Yeah.
Like, because they know the grind.
Right.
I would rather fight a pro boxer, a black belt in jiu-jitsu. Sorry, Sean, my jiu-jitsu coach is gonna kill me for that. But yeah, I'd rather fight anybody than a D1 wrestler, like college wrestler. Mm-hmm. So I was prepared for a war, and I came out. I hit him with a good high kick early, and then kind of mounted him. And I remember, like, when I mounted him, I was on top and I was throwing big elbows like and missing. I'm like shit, and like he's seeing them coming. So I remember like posting them and showing like a real quick short elbow, and it caught him in the throat.
Oof.
And he was out cold.
Yeah.
But back to your question, the emotions, yeah, man, like it happened so fast. I was more worried about him showing up and then like getting my hands wrapped, and then we were like fighting early in the night, so it was like, boom, you're gone, you're out, and then I just lock in when I get in the cage.
Yeah.
Like the emotions are gone. You hear the people. Like I tell everybody, every man should have at least like experience that at least once. Like being in a situation, like you're an athlete, but you know you're playing in front of a couple thousand people, football, basketball, whatever. But when the lights are on and it's just you and one other person,
that's a different type of.
Bro, I mean, I got cold chills right now just thinking about it. Yeah.
Damn.
It's different. It's
right,
different.
right. I can only imagine, dude. Because in reality, it's like, because if we think about another sport like football, like basketball, like baseball, you have kind of teammates you can depend on.
Yeah.
And once that door closes in that octagon, it's you and
him.
It's you and if you want to die.
Like I would always and I tell my fighters now, I don't like touching gloves just because. You never know. Like you get those dudes that slap hand down and then throw a punch.
Yeah.
So we don't engage like that. But like I would always, like if I came out first, I would stare at my guy until he came in and got over there. Because I just wanted him to know, like, I'm friendly before the fight, but like you're gonna have a fight. Like,
game time.
Like I ain't going away.
Right.
You know, like, and I felt like when they look away for a second, then I got them.
Yeah.
Like it just mentally gives me a little bit of edge. Bit of edge. So yeah.
When did you feel like for example, was that even boxing? Did you feel that way too? Was that something that you did?
Nah, the boxing, like the fight nights and stuff, that was just brawling. Like I didn't know how to fight back then.
You just threw punches.
Yeah. I didn't have a coach. Like, really not much experience at all.
Right.
Like it was just like a street fight kind of like with gloves on.
Yeah.
You know, like my feet and hands weren't in time. Like, I mean, it was like just like hunters fight.
Yeah. Oh, I see. I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
Talk about that weight cutting though, man. Talk about because you said you weighed in at 170 and the following day added 15
So
pounds.
170 wasn't bad.
Right.
So I had my first 18-ish fights at 170 professional, and I could diet to literally. When I was fighting at 170, I'd walk around at 185, 190. Yeah. And I could diet for a week and cut down to 180-ish and then lose the last 10 pounds easy.
Damn. Doing what?
Sitting in the sauna, bath, Epsom salt, and then put it right back on before the fight. But then when I signed with the UFC, my agent, Adi Attar, who is Conor McGregor's agent, I was his first.
Oh, shoot.
He's the man.
Yeah.
Like he's in with like Proper 12 and all that shit.
That's crazy.
But I was his first MMA athlete.
Yeah.
So he talked me into dropping. Well, not talked me in. Like I wanted to, but he's like, man, UFC is bringing you over from Strikeforce because UFC bought Strikeforce at the time. Right. So they only brought like a handful of fighters over, like me, Tarek Safadine, like Tyron Woodley, Daniel Cormier, Luke Rockhold, all of us. Like we were all in the class that got brought over. And it sucks hearing those names because like I'm thinking back like I'm the one that took a shit. Like I didn't do nothing when I got to the UFC. But anyways, whatever. So it brought all of us over, and he was like, you should drop to 155. And I'm like, with your height and stuff, he's like, you'll be faster. Yeah. And you're already stronger than all these guys at 170. So I think you'll do good. So fast forward, go to the UFC. I got a dietitian. Like I'm dieting camps. Like my first camp, I was fighting a guy named Anthony Angiquani. He was a really good kickboxer, real long. And I'm training and dieting and training, and I'm not losing a whole lot of weight. Like I'm down to 180-ish, like what I normally would cut to fight at 70. And I'm so fucking like lean and just I'm getting murdered in training. Right. Murdered by like guys that I normally do great against are just cooking me. Yeah. So I'm getting beat up, depleted every day, training, dieting, not losing any weight. It's frustrating. Yeah. So I diet down to about like 175, 178, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
And then you're cutting the rest in water.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it was detrimental to my career. Like, that's what made me, after my 3 fights in the UFC, I had 4 fights. I opted out of my contract. I'm like, if I can't move up, which I lost the first 2 and then a no contest. So I'm like, they're not going to let me move up a weight class.
Right.
So I just opted out of my contract, and I'm like, I'm going to retire.
Yeah.
Just because I'm not going to kill myself trying to cut this weight, dude. Like, my last weight cut, I took the fight on, I was fighting, what's that guy's name again? It's right there. What the hell's his name? Abel Trujillo.
Yeah.
For the second time. Like, the first time I fought him, I felt decent because I had like 12-week camp.
Yeah.
And he hit me with an illegal knee, kind of put me out, and then they called the fight, which I was winning.
Right.
And the second time I fought him was like, I remember I was out on my boat, and I got a call from my agent, Adi. He was like, hey, they want you to run it back, and I think it was like December. And I remember looking at my phone and like counting the weeks. No, it couldn't have been December because I was on my boat, so it was earlier than that. But anyways, I remember counting my phone, counting the weeks, because that's how I judged it.
Yeah,
like weeks, and it was like 6-7 weeks. And
Damn.
I'm like, it was so much money. I'm
Right.
like, I can't turn it down. So
Right,
I'm like,
right.
yeah. So I took it, and yeah, man, it was the worst weight cut I've ever had in my life. I remember it was 2 days, like 26 pounds.
Dude, that's terrible.
Yeah, it was.
That sounds
brutal.
terrible for the body.
Yeah, if you don't make weight, you lose 20% of your money.
That's crazy.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then it was rough. But I remember being on, because the UFC would take you to a gym. Sometimes they would have gyms at the hotel, but this one didn't. So they took me to a gym. They would pull us to a gym, and like we could cut weight there and stuff. And I remember being on weight at the scale at the facility. And then I got back to the hotel and got on the official scale, and I was like 2 pounds off.
Damn.
And 2 pounds doesn't sound like a lot.
Right,
but when
even
you've
then.
already cut 20, 23, 24 pounds, like you feel like, man, like I'm going to die.
Right.
You lose your voice, like
Can't feel
your jaw
nothing, yeah.
hurts. Like I can't describe to you how I feel. Like it's horrible. So I remember going in the bathroom, and I would do like another Epsom salt bath, hot water.
Yeah.
And I remember getting out of the bath, and like I'm in there by myself, and I'm like depleted. Like,
Right.
and I remember looking at myself in the mirror, and I look like a drug addict. Like
Yeah.
I look like a cancer patient or like a AIDS victim, and I'm like, and I made a promise. I'm like, I'll never do this to you again.
Right.
Like I'll never do this to myself again.
Right.
And after that, yeah, I wasn't like, I went out, fought the worst fight of my life. That was the only time in my whole career, that last fight that I had in the UFC, that I couldn't justify how I lost, because I just felt.
Right.
If it had been work to go to that day, I would have called in sick. You know what I mean?
It was like that.
Yeah, coming out in front of 20,000 people.
Yeah.
And nothing.
Yeah.
Like I had nothing. Like my adrenal glands, nothing was firing. Like I was getting punched in the fight, and like my emotions were just the same.
Yeah.
Like nothing was, my
No.
receptors, nothing. It
Damn.
just wasn't going. Like I was getting like rocked by jabs, normal stuff, like slipping in
Yeah.
and like throwing my hooks and stuff. Like, yeah, it was an awful experience. So after that fight, I'm like, I got the shit beat out of me. That's where I got all the like huge cuts and scars on me from that fight, because, you know, you come in, you have a bad day, dude, you're getting fucked up.
Yeah, you're gonna reap the consequences.
Yeah.
Talk to me about a training camp, though. So what goes into preparing for a fight? I know you said every fight's different.
Yeah.
But like on a normal, like average fight, even some of the fighters that you train now, what kind of goes into planning for a fight?
So, like now for my fighters, like I break their fighter down and see kind of what their strengths are, and like how that plays to our strengths, their weaknesses.
So like film, like you guys watching films?
Film. Yeah, and there's a lot of film. But back when I was fighting, like I wouldn't watch any tape on anybody I fought.
Right.
Ever. Like I'd be like, they got to come to fight me.
Okay.
Like I'm not like gonna, and honestly, like it made me nervous watching tapes on other guys, so I wouldn't. And my coaches would, like my coach Mark Lima, my Muay Thai coach, he would watch the film and then kind of like have everything around that. But where I lacked, especially at the end of my career, was having somebody that was like on me, because like I could just do whatever I wanted.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I worked full time too.
Right.
So you're fighting guys.
You're a full-time fighter, and then and you
I worked every
too.
day. Yeah. Because the UFC, like they only insure you. They don't insure your family. You know what I
Okay.
mean?
Yeah.
So like, I already have kids and stuff, like, you know, my son Jace.
Yeah.
And my daughter Taylor, like, yeah, so I already have them. And I'm not going to be selfish and, like, fucking go into this fight, like, where I have to win or I'm not going to have rent, you know what I mean? Because it's not a crazy amount of money. So, yeah, I would work every day and then after work train, or in the mornings I would go to the gym in the mornings and then train in the evenings and then come home and run 3 or 4 miles and then do it all over again the next day.
That's dedication.
Yeah, so it was tough. But towards the end of my career, I started hating it, like hating the sport because when I dropped to 155.
Yeah.
Because who likes getting beat up every day in training?
Right.
You know, you're depleted.
Yeah.
And it reflected into my fights and into my camps too, because I wasn't taking it as serious as I should have. I needed to take like probably a couple years off or a year off and like get a hold of myself.
Yeah.
But like I just wanted to keep, making money.
Right. How long are camps usually? Like I know you said once 12 weeks. Is it?
I think 8 to 10 weeks is a really good camp.
Okay.
Like 6, 5, like that's pushing it.
This podcast is sponsored by Train Like a Champion, where athletes come to get real results. There are no cookie cutter workouts, just science-backed training to help build your speed, power, and performance. For more information, check us out at tlctrainlikeachampion.mypixius.com or follow us on Instagram at tlc.513athletes. It's time for us to train different and train like champions. Now let's get back to our show. Other than watching film though, what makes it a productive camp?
Having the right training partners to emulate the guy that you're fighting, the stylistic matchup.
Yeah.
Obviously if he's a good ground guy, putting yourself in those positions so that way you're ready. If you, worst case scenario, you get in those positions and then being ready to not get in that position and push it standing up or, you know what I mean?
Right.
Being on top.
Yeah. What kind of fighter were you? I know you said you grew up a boxer. You had a heavy left hand, you said.
So the good thing, like the thing about my fighting was like I was up and down a lot. So I was a good striker, but a good striker to get inside to get a takedown.
Yeah.
And then I could be heavy on top and throw a few punches, and then we'd be standing right back up. So I was like up and down type spot. But I wasn't going to try to submit you.
Yeah.
Like I had, 20-something fights, and I've won 1 by submission. Actually, it says 2 by submission, but one's the dude tapped out to punches.
Okay.
So I had 1 guillotine submission. But I wish I could go back because now I'm more of a grappler than I was then.
Yeah.
Yeah, competing in like IBJJF tournaments and stuff.
Yeah. So now you made it to the UFC. You got called up, or I guess UFC bought out Strikeforce.
Yeah.
So now you're fighting in the UFC, which is the pinnacle of MMA fighting.
Yeah.
So what was that first fight for you like? Because this is like almost a real big stage now,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, it's a huge stage.
Yeah.
It was everything. But like I said, it was hell getting there.
Yeah.
Like it was hell getting to that fight because I chose to drop to 155.
Yeah.
So it was.
So automatically, like the body already felt depleted, kind of going into it.
Yeah. So. Yeah, you're like kind of on like a low calorie like bodybuilder type diet.
Damn, bro.
And you're going and training and you're just depleted all the time. So I'm just tired.
Yeah.
And thankfully I got a good wife because man, I was sure I was hell to deal with, just day to day because there's nothing like being depleted and getting beat up every day and then coming home and somebody having to deal with you. So for her, like it was probably rough on her back then.
Yeah. Can you talk a little bit about contracts? Like you kind of brought up how like you couldn't pass up on a fight because it was a lot of money. Yeah. But like what goes into a contract though? Like does your agent get a percentage? Like how much?
Yeah. So normally like when I fought in Strikeforce, so my purse was lower than the UFC, but I would make tons of money off sponsorships.
Yeah.
And so the UFC bought out Strikeforce and brought me over to the UFC. Like my pay went up, but I lost all my sponsorships.
I see.
Because Dana like takes all those
Yeah.
from the fighter. Like, for instance, like if your Essentials wants to sponsor me, so they would have to pay the UFC a tax back then for $40,000 for a year, just to be able to give me $5,000 a fight or whatever. So
that's crazy.
It was shitty. So I lost all my sponsorships when I went over to the UFC, and essentially it was a pay cut for me.
Right. Damn.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
Yeah, and there isn't like crazy amount of money in the sport. You know what I mean? I feel like it's getting there now, so more than it was.
Yeah. That is crazy. What's one of your biggest fights or most memorable fights to you, do you feel like?
So this guy named Bobby Volker, I fought him in Portland, Oregon. It was my first fight in Strikeforce, and I won. It was a good fight. This was going into the third round, like middle of the third. The gloves, with MMA, I was winning the whole fight. Boom, he pokes me in the eye, and they go to scorecards. I win.
Right.
But he's a cool ass dude.
Yeah.
He's cool. He's from Kansas City, Missouri.
Okay.
Just a cool dude, tough dude,
Yeah.
tough dude, tough Mexican dude. And we talked after the fight. I'm like, I'm gonna give you that one back, man. Like, we're gonna run it back,
right?
Because I don't want it to end like that, going to the scorecards and stuff, blah blah. So we fight again. I come out first round, dominate him. Second round, I don't know. I think I was like switching and throwing a long left, and he kind of tagged me in the jaw and rocked me a little bit. And I had broken my foot in the first round. And anyways, he ended up handing me my first loss. I was 8 or 9-0.
Yeah.
So then I was 9-1 by that point. And so he's the most memorable, because then we fought the rubber match, the main event at the Palms in Vegas.
Okay.
So I'm like on vending machines
Hell
and shit.
yeah,
And everybody
dude.
thinks you're rich as shit. Like, your poster's outside as big as the wall. You know what I mean? Like there's slot machines and your face is on it. And I think back then, I think I was making like 8 and 8 or something, like 8,000 to show, 8,000 to win, and then. But like I said, I would have like $10,000 to $15,000 worth of sponsorship, so
That's
it'd make
crazy.
it worth it.
Right.
know?
So then, how as an athlete, as a fighter, how are you reaching out to get sponsorship? Was your team doing
Agent,
it?
Yeah, like Adi.
Oh,
Adi
okay.
Attar, like their whole team.
I see.
Paradigm Management, like they take care of all your sponsorship.
So he was your agent before. He was your agent on Strikeforce and moving up into the UFC.
So the main event at the Palms was the first time. So he bought out my contract through MMA Agents, which was another organization that was sponsoring me. And he was an LSU football player.
Oh,
so
snap.
he's a lawyer too.
Damn.
So him and his team were looking to jump into MMA, because he managed some football players and stuff too.
Right.
And I was his first client, MMA.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
And do you still keep in touch with him now?
Yeah, he's cool as hell. You can see Paradigm Management, Adi Attar, he's
Right.
Yeah, we
Right.
see each other once every few years. He was you remember Vontaze Burfict?
Yeah.
He was his agent.
Oh,
he used to come to
snap.
Cincinnati games, and we'd get tickets and go out there all the
Hell
time.
yeah,
it's
that's
cool,
what's up.
Yeah.
So now for example, all the things that you've learned from being an athlete, from being a professional fighter, how do you try to install that with your athletes that you work in now?
Because I've been there and I've done that,
Yeah.
so I know what they need to be doing and what not to be doing, because I already made all the mistakes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Not coming to train, taking days off. So I hold them accountable. I'm like, you're not taking days off. You know what I mean? Because I've been there. I've done that. I remember being depleted and worried about the fight coming up and shit, and then you just, you take a bunch of days off. Or I know not to let them. I research their guys and know if it's a good matchup for our guy.
Yeah.
Or
They don't just pick it up just because. Yeah.
No, everything comes through me, and I try to guide them and lead by example. I've been there, so I know what they need.
Why do you feel like you took up coaching though? Because you said after that last fight, you're like, dude, trick this. I'm done with this. But then you still followed your passion for it. Because I know you spoke on.
Honestly, man, I've given this sport my life.
Yeah.
In some form or another since I was a kid. With the boxing, and then with the jiu-jitsu, and then turning amateur and then pro.
Yeah.
This has been my life. It'd be selfish not to give back.
Right.
And this completes me. I'm not the same person without this.
Right.
Before I opened this gym, I had a gym at my house with, I'd bring guys over.
Hell yeah.
And then I could pick and choose who I train, which now it's nice because I have the kids and then the adults, and then we can break it up, and I make all my fighters. I'm like, you're going to jiu-jitsu. I didn't do that. I didn't have anybody saying you're going to wrestling practice. You have to.
Right.
Because you got to break down the levels to this game to get when I was fighting, you could be an A level striker or wrestler or jiu-jitsu guy or just athlete and make it. Now you got to be at A, two or three of those spots.
Yeah.
So I try to make all my fighters well-rounded. Like, if they need groundwork, they need to be in here jiu-jitsu class and wrestling. Like, if they need striking, they need to be coming to striking every day. Like, you got to get into that fire and get comfortable being uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Like, in those places where you're weak, and not tell them where they're weak. Like, motherfucker, you need to get your hands up. You know what I mean? Like, you need to be working your boxing. So get in here and box.
Yeah.
You know?
How do you separate? Because I know, like you said, Muay Thai. Muay Thai, Jiu-Jitsu, wrestling. You said, what was the belt? Black belt? Is that Jiu-Jitsu?
Yeah, Jiu-Jitsu.
Yeah, I'm not too well-versed in all that.
Yeah.
But, like, what is the difference between all of them?
So Jiu-Jitsu is grappling, like submission fighting.
Okay.
And we're American Jiu-Jitsu, so we're more top players, which suits my style.
Yeah.
My coach is Sean Hammonds. He's out of Nashville.
Yeah.
And then the guy that teaches here is Russ Kinney. He's a cop out of Milford.
Okay.
But, yeah, so Jiu-Jitsu, you start out white belt, and then you go to blue belt, and then you go to purple, brown, and then black.
Black's the top
and it
tier.
takes about 15 years to get your black belt.
Damn.
Yeah. So I've been doing Jiu-Jitsu for, like, 20 years, and I'm only a brown belt.
Damn.
But it was because I just now started putting the gi on. So I just got my brown belt last year. But anyways, and then, like, what are you saying? Like,
There's Muay Thai.
yeah, there's Muay Thai kickboxing, which we're American kickboxing
Yeah.
here. Yeah, so it's just regular boxing with kicks.
Right.
You know what
Okay.
I mean?
Yeah. All right. So there's not really
and
nothing
then wrestling,
crazy.
American wrestling.
Right, it's all the
Yeah.
same.
Yeah. So
Okay.
I got Jamon Spiller, who's wrestled D1 at college,
Yeah.
All-American. He teaches my wrestling, and then Hunter teaches the kickboxing, and then I have another guy that teaches my no-gi jiu-jitsu. His name's Alex Burkett. He's a cop out of Dayton.
Hell yeah.
So it's just bringing all them guys together that are badasses,
Right, just
and then
completely.
making all my fighters badasses
Right.
too.
To make a complete fighter.
Yeah,
Hell
you
yeah.
have to. You can't just be an awesome striker and come in, because my guys are going to take you down, beat you up.
Right.
And that's like, if I'm watching the guy and he's a great striker, then that's where we're going to go. I'm
Yeah.
like, we're not standing up with this guy. We're going to come out and take him down, because my guys can fight anywhere.
Right. Absolutely. Growing up too, was there like a fighter in mind that you kind of watched? I was like, I want to be like him, or I want to fight like him. Maybe in the beginning of your career.
Like MMA.
Yeah.
Like, I loved Mike Tyson back
Yeah.
in the day. That's why I wanted to box, was because of him. He's just ruthless,
That
vicious
dude's a savage,
style, man.
dude.
Yeah, he was a savage. But after I got into, like, I started watching MMA, I loved Don Fry. Like, his style was sick, because he was just like, take one to give one, like, tough dude. Like, then in my era, like, the best fighter of all time was GSP. Like, he was a true athlete. Like he wasn't doing drugs, steroids, and shit. And, like, and he was murdering people. So
Yeah, because back then too, I know that stuff was like very common.
Yeah, because, like, I mean, I was clean. I got, like, because of the way I looked, I got drug tested every fight, just because naturally I'm like a big muscle body type dude. So I was getting drug tested every fight. But I feel like a lot of those guys didn't get drug tested.
Yeah.
And you could feel, like, the strength. Like, it's like,
another level.
You know when somebody's, like, taking something, you're like, man, this motherfucker is different.
Yeah. Right now, do you still currently watch the UFC?
Yeah, I do. Not as much as I should, but yeah, I do. There's a few fighters I like.
What fighter do you think right now is like at the top? Because I know, like, for example, I think
everybody knows John Jones.
Oh,
It's
John Jones.
Yeah, but he's like, he's kind of irrelevant right now, because he's so in and out.
What do you think of the White House card? What do you think of that? Did you peep
it was
into that?
kinda weak.
I thought so too, huh?
I thought it was weak.
They made it seem like they were gonna get some crazy people, like McGregor was gonna come back, that John Jones was gonna be on the card.
I was telling my buddy, like, a few years ago, I'm like, McGregor's done. Like, he just, like, it's like, you see, like, I fought on the same card with Masvidal, like, a couple times in Strikeforce. He came over.
Yeah,
He's a cool ass dude, by the way. But he, like, you could tell after he started getting paid, like, you're not hungry anymore.
Yeah.
And I tell people that all the time. I'm like, you have got to stay hungry, because when you're not hungry anymore, you know, those minutes in the fights where you're like, man, I could get out of the fight now, or I could keep fighting. Like, it becomes easier to quit on yourself.
Right.
I know that, because I had a good job. Like, I've always had good jobs, but I got on at Duke when like, my last few fights in Strikeforce, and I remember just being comfortable because I was making, like, good money.
Yeah.
So then I was like,
I can just
man,
hang and
like,
chill.
Yeah, that's when I started taking days off from the gym and stuff, because, you know, I was making good money, so I wasn't hungry for the sport anymore. So I felt like I was kind of like okay, whether I
So it was whatever to you. That wasn't your priority.
Yeah, and you see a lot of fighters like now, like after McGregor, like
he fell off.
2 belts, bro. He was making more money than anybody, and he's eating good.
Yeah, was on a boat, lives on a boat.
Oh yeah, he's doing whatever he wants. So, as soon as you lose that edge and you're not hungry anymore, it's all downhill from there.
Right, especially if you're still like trying to fight too.
Yep, and you've seen it with Masvidal too. Like he had that big fight after Ben Askren, like blew him up. And then he had a couple main events, and then he started falling off.
Yeah, dude. I think it's crazy. Right now, like personally to me, dude, I'm a big Ilya Taporia fan.
I like Ilya a lot.
He's tough.
Well,
dude.
What's good about him too is like he's showing you like real high level boxing.
Yeah.
He don't throw a lot of kicks. He don't take you down a lot, and he's beating people, which is weird because normally like the Russians are just destroying people with wrestling.
Yeah.
So for him to come out and like be showcasing his hands like that and his footwork being so good that he can like avoid takedowns. And
he's not a big dude either. He's like 5'7", 5'8". Yeah. This dude's savage.
Yeah, he's tough.
Where's that one? He fought Sugar Sean. He whooped on him. He's like a Russian dude. I can't remember his name though. Dude, what's his name? He never stops. He's almost like a relentless type of fighter.
Oh,
you know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
He don't let you breathe.
I do. God, what is his name?
Oh, dude. He fought Sugar and then he beat him twice.
Yeah.
He beat Sugar twice.
And then he just lost the belt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of his name. I don't remember his name.
I'm
but
not good with the little guys.
Yeah, but he's a good fighter too. He's one that I kind of keep up with too.
Yeah, he is.
Hell yeah.
He's tough.
What's a message, man, that you got for? Actually, first off, before we even get into that, where can people check out your gym? Where can people check this out?
Just Advocate of Iron, or you can go to Train Relentless, MMA.com.
What ages are you accepting? What's going on here?
So kids will be preferably 5 to 12, and then normally like teenagers and up can come to the adult classes. We have something for everybody. Like I said, we got 5 coaches in here. I got Russ Kenny, that is 2-stripe American Jiu-Jitsu under my coach, Sean Hammonds. He's also a cop out of Milford. I got Alex Burkhead, who does no-gi stuff. He's a cop out of Dayton. He's a high-level jiu-jitsu guy. Hunter Frazier, who does my kickboxing and striking. Very good pro fighter. And then I got Jamon Spiller, who's a teacher out of Northern Kentucky.
Damn.
All-American wrestler. So we got the best here, man. Like I'm trying to give everybody what I didn't have. Like this spot where they can come to one spot and have everything. And then we got Advocate of Iron here, who with all the weights and stuff that you need for conditioning, whatever. I mean, check me out. Relentless _ MMA at Instagram.
Yeah.
That's my IG handle.
Hell yeah. And then what's one message that you have for anybody, any listener out there that is motivated, or that you want to motivate them? Like, what's a message that you have for anybody out there, dude, listening to it?
Man, just like living proof, like Chris Curtis, for instance. You know Chris Curtis?
Yeah.
Like, that was my boy from back in the day. He's in the UFC now, man. And he'll kill me if he sees this, but he used to be our round off in the gym, man. Like, he was like, I'm like, I'd be tired. I'd be like, where's Chris at, man? I want to, and like, he's made it so far, dude. And like, he's just living proof that if you put in the time and the work, like, you can do whatever you want in this life. Yeah. Like, that's all it takes is discipline. And yeah, it's just that grind, victory through sacrifice. You know what I mean? Like,
absolutely.
Just push.
Hell yeah.
You can
just
do
work
anything
hard.
you want. Yeah, you have to.
There you go.
I mean, I work my ass off, you know, like to have a good life, and you know, like I told you, I didn't even know life existed on the other side of 275, and now, you know, like raised good family, you know, I've had a lot of stuff, a lot of success. Went to the UFC, you know, now 20 plus fighters that I'm training here, so you can do anything you want. Yeah.
Absolutely. I appreciate you taking the time to be with us, man. It's been a great time.
No, that's awesome, man. Thank you for having me. I appreciate you.
Absolutely. Yep. There we go. Boom. There we go.
Give violence a chance, man.
Yeah, give violence a chance.
Was it the money that made me a savage? Popping them prices, I made it a habit. Toting them pictures and serving them addicts. That was exciting to me.